Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some and peace out to the rest of you. Black heart, black mind, black in again. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I'm going to, before I get into the main message, I want to add something, if I may, an addendum to this discussion about incels within specifically the black manosphere. And that is this. We're going to face a future in which being an incel will become the default. It's not going to be an exceptional situation. It will become the default situation. It is becoming easier and easier and easier for more and more men who are more and more normal with fewer and fewer quirks or oddities to be perceived as such. That's what's going to happen. Let's not make any bones about this. It is a sad situation, but it is true, and it's the most likely situation. A regular, normal man is going, every year, is going to have a higher and higher chance based on the way things are going. COVID has not done anything for the 80-20 rule per se, from what some people are saying. Some are saying, yeah, man, these women hit me up in the past I never seen before, but other guys are like, man, they're looking, and at this point, you got to have a fortress that's already stocked, and they don't want nothing else from you. That's what they're saying. So some people are saying it's going from 80-20 to 90-10. What I'm getting at here is that in the Western world, certainly, and even outside the West, where the feminism holds sway, because hypergamy never disappears, it gets to a point where more and more normal men are incels. That means that regardless of the decisions that they make, they're going to be by themselves. And if they're going to be with someone, it's going to be a non-sexual marriage, a sexless marriage or a sexless relationship. Now, a sexless relationship is not something I'm going to complain about per se. But I am going to say this, gentlemen, although I'll never tell you to fornicate and would tell you actually you should not, I am going to tell you this, gentlemen. Even though you should not fornicate, you still should not allow a lady to tell you what's not going to happen. You don't want to be the first. You don't want her to be the first one to beat you to that punch. And that's part of the reason I've said that Islam is a solution. The day that you can say to these ladies that you ain't with fornication and you can mean it is the day that a lot of the insults that they feel like they can hit you with are going to be over. Because at the crux of it is that is behind everything else. And it's better when you say to them, I'm simply not willing to be alone with you in seclusion if we're not going to get married. We can discuss it. We can even discuss it when no one can hear, but as far as being behind a closed door with you alone before a marriage contract, I'm not with that. See, if men were to do this, and men can, if men were to do this from a younger age, this would send a message to a lot of these ladies. Well, they're demanding a commitment. It's not us even demanding a commitment. They're demanding a commitment. But by the same token, they can end that too. Because we can divorce with a word. They have to go through a court and get a procedure done, but they can get one. Anyway, also, I just wanted to point out that this use of the word epithet as an insult is becoming less and less logical. Now, I'm saying this as a man that's not an incel. But this is less and less logical, and I'm saying this because other men should not have to necessarily be insulted for something that is increasingly becoming out of any man's control. You see, there may have been a time when if we had been using the word incel back then, you would have been able to say, well, his acne's bad, his hygiene's bad, he's really awkward, quirky. I mean, he is socially awkward. The funny thing is, we never use this as a reason to not give women a chance. We should have, but we didn't. But anyway, there was a time when that's what you could have said to explain it. Now, more and more men that are not that way are going to be categorized as such. They're going to fail with women. That's the doggone shame of it all. So I want to say to these guys that are talking to self-improvement and using these terms like incel as some kind of insult, if you're not going to pay attention to the unreasonableness of the lady's standards, you might want to fuck the shuck up. Now, that we've gotten that out the way. The next thing I wanted to point out was this hashtag Waste His Time 2020. Young Men's Daily Red Pill brought my attention to this. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know I exist. But I saw his video and I wanted you to understand, I'm not even going to tell you everything that's being said. Go to Twitter, go to Facebook, look up that hashtag. It's spelled Waste His Time 2020. Of course, no spaces, no underscores. That is brutal. It's quite brutal. Some of the things I've seen that was simply on Facebook, not even on Twitter. Oh, they're very brutal and they're very nasty, and they're getting a lot of likes and comments and approvals and shares. Text him OTW, then go to bed. Convince him you love a clean-shaven face, then post men with beards. Make him feel special, take him out of town to somewhere he's never been, and then leave him there. Hang out with him all day, and then when you get home, post, damn, today was hella boring. Text him good night, then post, someone text me, I'm so bored. Convince him to spend the night, then send him the wrong address. On your wedding day, send a pic of you at the airport and say, I catch flights, not feelings. I kid you not. Now here's one. Tell him you want his last name, then marry his brother. Text him on the way to you, then block his number. Now this is just Facebook. This ain't even Twitter. Yeah. One of them even says, I've been shit talked from 5 different guys this week just because I didn't want to have sex. This is 14 hours ago. But she put that hashtag in there as if to brag. Now, she doesn't have to want to. I don't promote fornication. The point is, she just wanted someone to get upset about it. And this one here, make him send you a huge paragraph, long text, then reply, I'm not reading all of that. Just looking for ways to start stuff and prolong, invent arguments, and disrespectfully so. And I'm going to tell y'all, I've come to understand a particular thing. I know that there are feminists out there that have grown over the years to actually hate men. I'm aware that this has happened. I also understand why there are men who hate feminists, not necessarily men who hate women. I haven't gotten to that point, and I hope I don't get to understanding that, but I know why there are men who hate feminists, even if that means the majority of women. And that is going to be because they will sit up and think of ways to frustrate you and get under your skin. They will ask you questions, and as soon as you don't incriminate yourself, they'll keep on interrupting you with more, because what they're trying to do is paint you into a corner to incriminate yourself. They're not going to settle for anything other than you incriminating yourself. It's just like when somebody comes to you with a hard luck story and starts begging from you. and you got to go and you don't have anything to give anyway. But you can't even politely excuse yourself because they just keep on cutting you off and telling you more of the hard luck story and hitting you up and asking you for stuff. I've seen this happen multiple times. I've gone into classrooms when we have to give a test that day. I'll start to tell the kids, listen, this is how you can avoid getting a 0. And they start interrupting. I'm not here to interrupt. I'm not here to be interrupted. I'm not here to discuss with you and negotiate ways that you can cheat and still get a grade. That's not going to happen if I catch it. And these are the guys that do this. Or telling me to calm down, don't worry. No, mother cuss word. You keep your eyes on your paper, or I'm going to give you a 0. That's the end of it. And I'm going to write the report. It's a similar thing that happens. And feminists love to do this. And even if you agree with them at times, they're going to sit up and try to put you in your place as a guy. You don't have nothing to say about it, things like that, just because. What they love to do is they love to take things that you didn't say and put those words in your mouth. And they're not the only ones that do this. And then when you say, that's not even what I'm talking about, then they want to either send you a meme of someone waving you away or dismissing you, or talk to the hand, but I don't want to hear it, something like that. So that this is not going to be a discussion. It's just going to be plain and simply, they're going to say something that's not true. And if you say, nope, that ain't even true, they're just going to rip you apart and start with accusations. This being said, I understand why there are men who hate feminists. I get it. I would cut family ties with a feminist at this point. I could be related to one and will cut ties based on that. You go into the level of misandry, blaming men for things that they didn't do, or blaming other men for things that other men did, then yes, I will cut ties with you. Because me doing these same things to women is unreasonable and should be. But I want you to understand that the women that think like this and post this, they're the ones that are at war with you. Not all women. The problem is that they're going, because hashtags are easy to remember. They psychologically penetrate and they grow. And they're going to be able to get more to be at war with you. Because why would they say things like this if it's just fun? And I mean, why would they say something like this except for men who have done something to earn this? And the funny thing is, most men don't really want to treat ladies this way. The men to whom they want to do this are the men to whom they can't bring themselves to do this. They may want to do this to a particular type of guy, but that's the guy they just wind up, opening up their legs for anyway. No games, none of this stuff. They'll do this to somebody else that will give them attention and validate them, because it's a punishment for that guy who is willing to validate them not being the man that will never validate them. He just takes the punani and goes. And New Era Hip Hop, one of my subscribers and commentators, even said this. He described his height. And he said, gentlemen, you can't marry these women because there are things they're willing to do for me. I'm that guy that they're with when they won't answer you. When they're asking you for things and they're telling you that you have to commit and you got to provide and you got to step up and do all of these things, I'm the one to whom they're bringing the benefits, or with whom they're sharing the benefits. He's pretty much saying that Nicole Brown Simpson, he would have been the Ron Goldman and OJ would have been paying the alimony. That's pretty much what he's saying. You give a boob job to somebody like Nicole Brown Simpson, and then she leaves you and pays alimony. She's spending that on some young dude. He is he would be the Ron Goldman. He explained this. Now, he wasn't saying this to brag. He was actually saying this in an informative manner, pretty much saying, gentlemen, you can't marry these ladies. He wasn't talking down to us. He was just telling us this is what they're going to do for me and what they will do to you, while demanding what you will do for them. You give, they take, they share with me, and that's it. I'm not going to lie, gentlemen. That's a reason to be insulted, a valid reason. So keep in mind that although, as I've said before, it ain't all women like this. I don't know what the percentage is, but whatever the percentage is, it's going to be bigger in a few months because of this hashtag. Because remember, criming while white was a hashtag. Oh, and that blew the up. Some people put that out, and then next thing you know, a bunch of white folks start saying, I know that this is true because this is what I did and this is what happened to me. This cop let me go to the ATM to get my bail money, so I didn't have to spend any time in jail. This cop gave me a warning, but all of us got off easily, but they called the black boy's parents for shoplifting, and he didn't even steal anything. Things like that. That's real. Things like, well, I left my prescription medicine in my black boyfriend's car. He got pulled over and he got a class 2 drug offense conviction for having my prescription medicine that I forgot in his car. That type of thing. That hashtag, it took off. It really did. Hell, you can find me, simply put, hashtag from the bottom of my black heart, and I pop up. So these hashtags do have, if the phrase itself is memorable enough, the idea spreads, it grows. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. I don't know what the percentage is of misandrist. I don't know what the percentage is of feminists that aren't necessarily misandrist, at least not intentionally. And what percentage are misandrist and what percentage are so-called pick-me's or pick-meshas. I don't know the percentages. How do you measure something like that? What I do know is that it's going to grow. That I am sure of. Because hashtags that are that shallow and that stupid really catch on, and they grab the attention of young ladies. The ones that are just coming of legal age to even have a Facebook account, maybe even a Twitter. I don't know if it's 18 or above. What I do know is most of them are going to go to Twitter. That's where you see the most. That's where you're going to find more than what I did. And so when they go to this, they start these and then they start their accounts or they already have them in their young teens and these things come up, guess what's going to happen? Well, they may have been on the fence, but they're going to start going with this, waste his time. Or better yet, they're going to like one guy and he's into somebody else and not her. And then somebody that she doesn't like does like her and she gets bitter about it because she's young. And then she starts with the same thing. Hell, I'm wasting these niggas' time. As a punishment for men for being such that the one she likes would not like her back. Or he likes her and some other women too and not just one. That's a doggone shame. So anyway, I wanted y'all to keep that in mind. Be leery of this because these ideas are going to be exactly what the women in the lives of your young cousin, young brothers, sons are going to do to them. In a few years, your teenage brother, son, cousin, nephew, is going to have these things done to him. And he may know for the hashtag, he may not know, but we need to let them know now while they're young, so that in a few years when they're old enough to even start dealing with these ladies, they'll know this is what's waiting on them. And when this happens, this is why. And it won't be a question as to what he did wrong. It will be a question as to what the hell she read before she ever met him. Probably when they were both preteens. Let them know. Let these dudes know it may be you, it may not. It doesn't matter because they're not giving you the time to find out if it's you or not. It's an unanswered and unanswerable question when they're making these snap judgments in so little time about you. Not because even of you, but because of who you're not. You're just not that 10% of dudes that they all want. Oh, and here's a funny thing. Remember when I've talked about how these dating sites showed that about 87% of approaches failed and probably even 87% of men were not even attractive to women? Coach Greg Adams has the stat that it is 93% of approaches, cold approaches at least, to women fail. 93%. Damn, that's even worse. I don't know what changed. Could be the sample size, different studies got different results possibly, but the point I'm making is that it's for somebody it's 93 and not even 87. That's the point I'm getting at. We might as well just go ahead and tell these young brothers, just plan your life by yourself. Just go ahead and just prepare to live by yourself. And that the human population is going to decrease. We may just need to, even though that's not necessarily good for us, we might need to start doing that for real, because this is getting ridiculous. And I'm not even saying it's wrong that they have their preferences. It's getting ridiculous because when they're not getting approached, they're going to question men about why they're not getting approached. Yet and still, what is it worth? When these young brothers won't play a rigged game, they're going to be interrogated as to why they won't play this rigged game. And if it can be legislated in the future to guarantee women some sort of validation, it will be. At the expense of these young men. So go ahead and let these young brothers know right now. Let them know now what's waiting on them. Thanks for listening. Black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum, and black, heterosexual, non-select, even incel male power just because they don't like it.